Where do we turn? The skinny dudes and the muscly dudes don't understand what we're going through. Our fellow porky fat buggers, we don't want to learn from them because what the hell would they know? So where does one go when you're on a weight loss journey and you're carrying way too much pounds? Well, let's try and figure that out together.
Hey, morning guys. Just going out for a walk. What happened a couple of days ago is it's just nuts. You remember a few episodes ago we talked to Tim, who made that incredible commitment. It's pretty cool, where Tim wrote a check, $40,000, gave it to, because in my normal life I coach people to be better at business side of their business, and one of the things was definitely holding Tim back in his business was his weight. So we did that thing that I did some years ago, as you guys remember, where I wrote a check for, that if I didn't lose the weight, the check went, to, in this case, was to a competitor. Not a competitor, he's a good dude, man. In fact, the competitor, in inverted commas, is the guy who challenged me with the tactic, because he was a speaker and I was the next speaker after him it was at a real estate head office. And the speaker before me, really good guy, was doing this talk, and he said, okay, who's committed to their goals? Everyone put their hands up, and I was sitting there going, well, yeah, because at the time I was wanting to lose weight, so who's committed to their goals? And everyone put their hand up. And who's really committed? And everyone put their hand up. And I'm at the back sort of thinking, yeah, I am. And he said, who's serious this time? And everyone's punching the eye. Typical motivational speaker, I thought. Didn't know he was so much better than that. Because then he said, righto, write a check for $5,000 and give it to me. If you don't hit your goals, I'm going to give it to your competitor. Or words to that effect. I can't remember the wording that he used, but that was effectively it. So in this room of 100 people who 5 minutes ago were all punching the sky saying how motivated and committed they were, there were 2 people left in that room who did it out of that 100 who actually did it. And that was me and what turned out to be their number one performer. So, everyone else, as soon as it got real, just kind of, decided, well, maybe I'm not so committed, And so anyway, I know that tactic works because I lost the weight with my goal months ahead of time. The only reason I haven't done that again, the only reason is I want to drop weight without that away from negativity. I mean, what that is, that's away from motivation. If you were a purist NLP person, which I'm not, I've done some study in NLP and stuff, and some study in hypnosis, but the purist NLP person will say that's away from motivation. So, we do things for one of 2 reasons: to move towards pleasure or to move away from something painful. We're very this is very, what's the word? Caveman of us. We either run towards a piece of fruit to eat, or we run away from a dinosaur that's going to eat us. That's really the kind of the deal. That's why we do everything. The drivers of human behavior, to move towards something that we want or to move away from something that will hurt us. That's it. So there's in my head, I'm trying to do this podcast or drop this weight I'm trying to use every tactic in the world other than away from strategy. Because I tell you, it is I don't want to use negativity, because it's using the negativity. It's using your pettiness. It's using, and we've got it. I've certainly got it, But so when I did it, it's using my selfishness. It's using my pettiness. It's using some negative emotions in order to get a positive outcome, granted. But I want to do it for the right reasons. I want to do it going towards something I want. I want to do it because I get an extra 10 years with my kids. I want to do it because of all the good stuff I get, not because I'm being petty and I don't want I don't want a competitor of mine to get my money, right? But that's the theory, and it will work if you do it, right? So I ain't bagging Tim out for doing it. It will work. And just the reason I say that, so I'll tell you a little bit about how that tactic works. I'll tell you where I'm up to in a minute, and I ain't proud of that. But the tactic, that tactic, the reason I say how it works is I'm, what's today? Today, just don't know what day it is. It's early in the morning, it's before dawn, and I'm out walking. Is it Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. So there you go, I don't even know what day it is. It's good, hey? I got back from holiday mode. I have been back at work for a couple of days. Yeah, so let's say it's Wednesday. I know that next Monday is what we call an immersion with my business, meaning we've got some one-on-one inner circle students, of which Tim is one of them, and I'm catching up next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is our 3 days of those students, and we've got it's actually our breakup function, meaning we've been working with that particular group for a year. We're doing a day's training and a day of fun, and Tim's in that group, the guy who you met on this podcast who made that commitment to the weight loss and all of that. And he put a post up the other day in the thing. Now, I can't remember even exactly how, because this is, it may only be 4 or 5 episodes ago or whatever, but 3 months ago, between these immersions, in inverted commas. So Tim's had 3 months with that. If you remember at the start of that, I think we're at about the same weight. I might have even been a bit lighter because I think he started at 123 odd. And he put up his weight in our little Facebook group the other day. And it's looking like he's made his goal and then some. So, 107, 108 is where Tim is at with that strategy. So once again, that tactic maintains its 100% success ratio. So it's brilliant, and congratulations to Tim. And I can't wait to get into, get Tim and grab his thoughts on that and share it with you, because he succeeded, and credit frickin' to him. Well done to him. So yeah, if you're serious about losing weight, I tell you, that is a flawless way. Flawless. Make your commitment, right? Let me show you Tim's process. Make your commitment of how much you want to lose. Make sure it's realistic, right? Make sure you know you can do it. And when I say realistic, I don't mean don't push yourself. I don't mean, if you're as heavy as me and you're 120 odd kilos, and don't say, I want to lose 2 kilos in 3 months, because that's not pushing yourself at all. If you're overweight and you know it, if you know you've got 30 kilos to lose, as I do, don't say you're going to lose 2 kilos a month. Well, no, 2 kilos a month, that's fine. Don't say you're going to lose 2 kilos in 3 months. That's too slow. That's not pushing yourself. It's too easy, Although, in hindsight, don't come to me for this advice, because I was a horrible mentor in this space until I've earned the right to instruct you on what to do. Don't listen to a word I say. But this is what Tim did anyway. So he set a 15 kilo weight loss goal, I believe, 123, and he wanted to get down to 108. And bugger me, I saw 107.8 or something on the scales the other day. So he has done magnificently. And that's how he did it. So that'll work. Set a goal, make it realistic, make a commitment, write a check out for an amount that will hurt. Make sure that check is in an account that will balance. Credit card details would probably work, but the problem with credit card details is you really could just cancel the card or something if you wanted to. And if it got real, if you were getting close to failing or something, you could cancel it. You know what I mean? But that check, when you write that out, if it gets banned, now I know technically you could cancel a check, or you could empty the account that the check is from so the check bounces, I don't know. But I tell you, 100% of the time, that write the check and the check gets banked and the money sent to someone you don't like tactic works every time. 100% of the time, I've seen someone do it, including me. People get to their goals normally well ahead of time, Now, Tim's ahead of his goal now, right? The one problem Tim's got, which I'm really interested in seeing what happens, the one thing is, and it's $40,000 for Tim, because that's the amount that would hurt, And so for you, $1,000 might hurt, For you, it might be $100,000 that it has to hurt, So, but that was Tim's amount, was 40 grand. My amount was 5 grand. And at that time, 5 grand was just unacceptable to lose, So now Tim the other day was half a kilo under his goal weight. But Tim's, and this was a week or 2 weeks ago, perhaps. So I said, all right, Tim, you need that buffer zone, because Tim, like this week, I think, is going on a cruise with some mates, and he's worried. because he knows what a cruise with mates is all about. He knows that that's some drinks, that's some fun, that, that's a boys' cruise. So he knows that ain't going to be conducive to kale milkshakes. So he wanted a buffer zone so he could still go on the cruise, still have some fun, and not lose his 40 grand. So it will be interesting to catch up with Tim in a couple of days, and that's his tactic. Set the goal, make sure you're committed, write the check, make sure the goal is realistic and that it's in your control. Write out the check that will hurt. Give it to someone that you know. And there's the other thing, the choice of the check holder. I even said to Tim, dude, give me the check, but just know this. It's not nice guy Glenn who's going to be holding your check, right? Because nice guy Glenn, when he comes to me and says, oh, Glenn, mate, look, I had to go, man. The missus is hurt and she's sick. She said she'll divorce me if you bank that check. And it's just been hard, mate. The doctor said I've got a metabolism problem. And, mate, I just couldn't lose the weight. I'm whatever the excuse is, I'll listen to you. And, man, I don't think as a mentor I'm strong enough to bank the check if you fail, right? So my advice to you is don't send me the check, right? Send it to someone that you know cares enough about you to hold you accountable and promises to send that money if you fail. And that's the problem with me. I'm too much of a sook. I won't do it. I know I won't do it. I'd listen to your story and I wouldn't actually hold you to it because I couldn't see it happen, because I know that I've asked you to pick someone who you hate. Right now, in the case of me, I didn't hate the guy. In fact, I really, really liked the guy. He's a really good speaker. So the guy who held my check and who the money was going to was someone that I really like. It's even more powerful if it's someone that you hate, right? Or even someone you dislike, or someone who's a competitor of yours in business, a serious competitor who irks you, rubs you up the wrong way. Could be a sporting team you hate even. If you're a massive Queensland State of Origin fan, or whatever your team is, and you wrote a check out to your rival's supporters fan club charity or something. You know what I mean? It could be anything like that. Just can't be something positive. Don't fall for the trap of making your check go to a charity, because that's a good thing. Then that means if you fail and the money goes, it's going to a good cause. You need it to go to something that's completely unacceptable. So anyway, with all of that said, once you've found your mentor who's going to hold the money, then go at it. Be consistent and follow all the advice in this program that I haven't been following well. Would be wise counsel. Because, I haven't been on there, even though you hear these episodes kind of as quickly as you want to. I haven't recorded one of these for weeks, just because I'm embarrassed as shit. You know what? I've been uncensored up until this point, and I've been censoring myself, not wanting to get on this podcast, not wanting to record a damn thing because of how embarrassed I am with my results. So here it is. The hardest thing I've ever had to admit. Remember, I started this freaking thing at 119, right? Started this podcast. The peak in my entire life of weight was 128 or 129 or something, 128 or 129 kilograms. I started when Arnold Schwarzenegger started messing with me. My peak in recent times was 124. That's where I was when I started, when Arnold started messing with me saying, hey man, you got to drop the weight, right? And then I started this podcast at 119 and I got down to a recent times PB, let's say, when I was on the way to Arnold, when I lost my phone and all that crap, I was 114.8. That was my recent PB, my recent low. But yeah, when I did that goal years ago, maybe, what is it now, 2017? It was 2010, I think, was when I did the write a check to a competitor task. I got down to 99.8, right? That was my goal, was to get under 100 kilos. Did it with months ahead to spend. And that was Christmas. The goal time was Christmas 2010. And I think I did it by October or something. So that's the weight journey. And I tell you, a couple of days ago, I jumped on the scales and it read, this was after I got back from a holiday with the kids in Naomi. We're over at Moreton Island. No, not Moreton Island. Stradbroke Island, North Stradbroke Island. And I didn't eat badly, still didn't eat the meat, just, man, Anyway, it was 124.4 kilos. And when I got back, my heart sunk. Really did. It sunk. I thought, what have you done? And more importantly, what would have happened if I ate hamburgers? What would have happened if I'd have had Fanta? What would my body be like if I wasn't being diligent? If I'm being diligent somewhat, only eating veggies, only eating seafood, not eating beef, pork, or chicken, walking where possible, bought a Garmin, looking at a Fitbit step counter thing, doing a podcast on weight loss, trying to be diligent, congratulating myself far too often on doing things approximately right, and put on 5 kilos from where I started in a journey 6 months ago. Frickin' hell. Nuts. That means I probably would have put on 15 kilos if I was doing my old habits. You know what I mean? If I was living the way I used to live without monitoring, without doing these things, I'd have put on 15 kilos. So where it's at, that was a couple of days ago. I was perfectly disciplined for a couple of days. I, dropped 2 kilos in a day. So what that means is I wasn't 124.4 kilos of fat. I, measured myself at the wrong time or whatever. I mean, it was in the morning. But, so anyway, so I dropped 2 kilos in a day, went to 122.4. That was yesterday. Did it pretty well yesterday. So this morning was 122.0. Tell you, I love it. Isn't it interesting? Learning. This program is probably more valuable for anyone else than it has been for me, because it's shitting me in that Tim did it the way I know works, under my instruction. It was me telling him, write the check, do the thing, hit your goal, you'll make it. And he did. And he lost 15 kilos. He was about the same as me, and he's now 107 and I'm now 122. I tell you, here's the thing. I'm getting lost here in these rabbit warren of these as I'm walking. North Lakes, it's a rabbit warren of paths and footpaths and things. Getting a bit lost. All right, so anyway, here's the commitment that I'm saying to you. I'm going to give myself a time frame. I'm going to give myself 2 more months. It is now very early October. I'm going to give myself till New Year's, right? So it's till the end of the year, December. So it's 2 months and 2 weeks, 10 weeks. Yep, it's about 10 weeks. If I haven't made this the right way. Now, see, I'm wondering if I'm falling into the same trap by putting yourself a deadline on there with a punishment. Because what I was about to say to myself, and maybe this is good because it's caught me saying, here's what I was going to say, and I still may, I don't know, thinking out loud here. I was going to say, if I don't do this by December, I'm giving myself a deadline, then I'm going to write the check and do it the way that I know works, right? Because I know it works. Write the check and it'll work. But do you see how that's kind of the same thing? That's still, doing a positive thing for negative reasons, because I'm putting myself on a deadline saying, you better lose the weight, dude, because if you don't, you're going to have to do that check thing that's painful and blah, 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 blah. So, but I've got to draw a line in the sand somewhere. All right. So first off, I want to see maybe I'm trying to do too much by saying, hey, I'll drop 15 kilos in a quarter. Maybe I'm thinking too long term, and maybe I do good in sprints. So at the very least, so I don't pressure myself and freak myself out and just want to I say this with jest because I'm not in any way suicidal, right? What was about to come out of my head was, so I don't neck myself. No, I'm not going to neck myself, right? It's, God, irresponsible to even talk that way. But so I don't put pressure on myself, I might record 1 or 2 of these, but I'm going to see what I can do in the week between now and when I see Tim. So let's see what I can do in a week. Let's see if I can drop 2 kilos in a week. I know I can. Jesus, that's what's scary about all this. I know I can do better than I'm doing. See what I can do in a week. And let's see if by the end of the year, I can be as far ahead as Tim gotten in his last 10 weeks as I've gotten in mine. So let's get me down to 110 by New Year. Gives me 10 weeks to do so. Should be easy. 12 kilos in 10 weeks, easy. Easier said than done, though. All right, guys, you're awesome. Thanks for listening. See ya.
I went to sleep, happy in love. I slipped away from the world I thought I knew. How was I to know? All I dream of was you. To face a new day and face my friend, I knew that my vision had met its end. And the only thing in the world that makes me feel alright is knowing I can make my dreams last for more than one night. So I'm keeping the dream alive. I'm trying so hard to survive. The love that I found was when I was asleep. It took a dream to find a love I could keep. So now I'm keeping my dream alive. Weary with toil, I haste me to my bed. But then begins a journey